This is the Video Game Podcast, episode 544 for March 26th, 2018. Pirate Tensions.
I should roleplay a jerk.
Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me, as always, is Moonpeer.
Hello.
Piece of business news here at the beginning. Moonpeer has launched a brand new show under the TVGP umbrella called Old Dog New Flicks. Basically, Moonpeer and his wife, Jess, are going to catch up on the movies they've missed.
Yep. It's pretty much if you're a fan of the pre-show stuff, I have been ridiculed a fair few times about how little I'm aware of pop culture. The song by Bruno Mars, I can't remember the name of it. Uptown Funk, maybe?
Yes, that song, yeah.
Yep,
I think that's what kicked this whole thing off.
Well, there's that, and there's also the whole She Never Saw Nightmare Before Christmas, and I've never seen any of the Godfather movies, and people consistently tell me I live in a bubble. And you're correct.
Some of those movies where someone goes, really?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So, the purpose of the new show is we're going to sit down once a month and watch a quote-unquote pop culture movie and give our reflections on it. There is little twists and turns here and there. We're going to rotate around who's seen it, who hasn't seen it. We've started off with one neither of us have seen. But we are going to take it in turns, basically. We're going to do on-off, she's seen it and I haven't, or vice versa. If you're a patron, listen to the first episode and listen to how excited I get at the end of the episode about episode 2, because it's so good.
Yeah, if you want to check these episodes out 3 months early, you can do that at the $5 tier over patreon.com/E1M1. We're talking about it on the pre-show, and man, that $5 tier is sort of the sweet spot because you get early access to a bunch of stuff, you get dynamic soundtrack, Hang with Mr. Boston, now Old Dog New Flicks. If you're not a patron and you don't want to do the $5 tier, each episode will come out 3 months later on the free feed over on tvgp.tv, so you can just sort of hang out there. Same rules as dynamic soundtrack, but Moonpeer and his wife are going to go check out some movies. So patreon.com/E1M1 $5 tier. Go do it. First episode is really good, and I can almost guarantee you second episode is going to be even better.
I hope so.
I'm really excited for the second episode. I go check it out. With all the business out of the way, let's get started. Moonpeer, what have you been playing this past week?
So we might as well start with the biggest. And correctly or not, it is the biggest game this week because it seems to be everywhere that I open my eyes and look.
Yeah.
And that's Sea of Thieves. Officially launched on Tuesday.
Yep.
And my wife has been hyped about this game for about a year and a half now.
Yeah. I think we talked last week about how the hype train influences her very strongly.
Yes, it does. So we thought, hey, let's give it a go. Let's see how it does. So, to give you an idea of the hype train on my wife, she may or may not. I came home from work on Monday because the game was released on Tuesday. My wife said hello. We had a meal, and she went to bed so she could wake up at midnight and start playing the game at midnight. That's the hype train on my wife pretty much summed up really.
Very dedicated.
Really, yes. So she got a good 6 hours on the game before I was awake for work the next day. There were issues, to put it mildly.
A lot of server issues, which is understandable. It seems like they almost didn't. It's like I almost didn't believe that a lot of people would use their trial for Game Pass to play Sea of Thieves.
Yep. And it did make me laugh. They deliberately said we need to do a stress test, and they released a beta, which was a stress test, which was get as many people as you can on the servers to see how it handles. And during the stress test, it was fine. A little touch laggy in places, but it was okay. When the game released,
factor of 10. Let's do it.
Yeah, I think the highest number of players they had at one point on the stress test was like 300,000 people at once. I think when the game released, it was like 4 times that number. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, you can't really prepare for that kind of increase.
Yeah.
Let me point you in the direction of Destiny 2, yes. Diablo 3, Diablo 2, anything like that.
Yep.
That needs to be online. Be patient with them. Be understanding. Something we were talking about in the pre-show is if you don't make video games, you don't get to tell people off for the servers not working.
Yeah, like, I thought they actually did a really great job, and it wasn't like they were on Twitter. They were on Twitter, but they weren't just on Twitter saying, like, I don't know, man, pirates are raiding the servers, wink. They were sort of like, okay, look, there's 1 million of you in there right now. Everybody give us, like, 5 minutes, and they posted a video saying, like, here's why the servers were having problems, here's what we're doing to resolve it. I think they did a really great job coming out up front and saying, like, here's exactly what happens, here's what we're doing, thank you so much for your patience, just keep trying, and we will get the infrastructure there.
Yes. I think I got home from work at like 6 p.m. on Tuesday. I don't think I started playing till 8 p.m. Because it was specifically for people who needed to create a new character they had very high issues with, because they kind of cut you off and like, no, if you haven't got a character already, you're going to have to wait kind of situation.
Put you in a queue almost.
Yeah. So there was a little bit of issues with that. Eventually I started playing, and I played with my wife and a couple of her friends. Well, our friends, as I've been told off for referring to them as her friends. But played a little bit with them. It seemed to go okay, but then I had to call it a night and go to bed. Played a lot more on Wednesday, because my problem is I'm getting home at 100% peak time.
Oh, yeah.
Because when I was back in England, this was fine, because peak time in England is like, it's late. Well, if I'm getting home from work, let's say 6 p.m. in England, it's 12 o'clock on the East Coast. It's 8 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast. I never had to deal with any of these server issues, because it was like, oh, Europe is coming online. Big whoop. We're prepared.
Come on in. It's wide open.
Exactly. East Coast, I didn't realize, is I get home from work at 6 p.m. Everyone else on the East Coast is getting home at the same time I'm playing. Yeah. And all the kids are getting home on the West Coast at the exact same time.
That's true.
So it's all of the kids on the West Coast and all of the grown-ups on the East Coast, and every little factor in between. So I had some issues. I had a lot of issues.
Can we pull back for a minute and talk about the character creation stuff? Which,
yes,
I don't want to use the word creation.
It's minimal. At best, it's minimal.
I think that's one of the things that, I've watched some stuff from Giant Bomb, which, to be fair, I think their coverage so far has been, let's put it kindly and say, fairly negative. Unfairly so for a lot of stuff. And I've watched some other more positive stuff. And I think the thing that I have taken away from so many people playing this is it's really a shame that I get what Rare was trying to do. They give you, if anyone has played it, they give you like this ring of pirates. You get to pick one from the ring, or you can just keep generating new pirates. But once you pick a pirate, that's it. Like, you don't get to say, all right, well, they're going to change their hair, and it's not like The Sims. It's just sort of like, okay, that's your pirate. Like, that's done. You're finished.
You can change hair and beard and stuff like that. Like, you can do all that after the fact, but, like, their build, their frame, you can't change. If suddenly you decide you don't want the dude with super cartoon broad shoulders and a slim waist, you want to go to the middle kind of build, you can't change that.
You can't change gender or anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I can understand where people are coming from, but at the same time, I think because this is not a first-person game, so it doesn't bother me about my selection.
Yeah.
It's mostly about other people's selections, and I've seen some people who are really happy with theirs and some people who are sad with theirs. My wife is super duper pleased with hers, also because her gamer tag is Bearded Lady, and she can actually play a female pirate and have a beard.
That's awesome.
So she is 100% happy.
Yeah, and at least there's all like the cosmetic stuff that you can purchase. I'm going to say purchase in-game with in-game money.
Yes.
Just because that's a thing we have to clarify in 2018.
Yep, it 100% is.
Yeah.
The creation, the quote-unquote creation is... It's okay. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not the best I've ever seen. It's not the worst I've ever seen. It's just okay. It's very middle of the road. The game itself will depend very much heavily on you as an individual.
Yeah.
So, for the record, Boston, don't play this game. It's
not
a game for you.
Yeah, we'll get into it in a little bit, but because I'm sure it'll come up. But my initial reaction was, boy, this doesn't look like a single-player game. And the more I have watched of it, I know it's 100% not a single-player game.
That's the funny thing is, it can be.
Yeah. But I don't think... that doesn't seem fun. Because watching some single-player stuff, it seems like you're sort of always running to and fro on your ship to try and... I gotta do this thing, and they gotta run over here, do this thing, and then I gotta steer, and you're like spinning too many plates.
Even with 4 players, you are still always doing that.
Sure.
The thing about it is, if you're going to play it single player, you need to know what you're getting into, and you need to... I'm going to use terminology here, which is it's going to come across as negative, just based on the connotation of the terminology itself.
Mm-hmm.
Are you okay with the grind, becomes the question.
Right.
Because basically the way the game operates is that right now, at least, there is no quest line.
Mm-hmm.
There is 3 factions, and it's essentially a go out and do what you want. You want to go and explore islands? Go and explore islands. You want to go and find sunken ships? Go find sunken ships. You want to do missions?
Deliver some chickens.
Yes, that's the merchant. The merchant faction. It's essentially a rep grind right now. It's 3 factions. You get missions from them. You do missions. You grind out rep. You get higher level missions. You get bigger rewards, so on and so forth.
Okay.
The enjoyment in this game comes from what you want to make of it, which, depending on your personality and your type of gaming, this could be the only game you might need for the next 10 years.
And I think, looking at it from the outside, too, it seems like the majority of the entertainment is trying to get you and your like-minded friends in there to just do something. And I think that's, for me... where this game might fall apart is I don't see this as an attractive game for single player because I think it looks like it relies so heavily on you and a couple people sort of continually running missions and like having your own crew, game after game, and that seems like it's pretty attractive on the surface.
It kind of is. It just depends on the people you play with. Like, I'm trying to figure out a way to phrase this nicely. On Wednesday when I played with myself, Jess, I think it was Kat, and maybe Charlie or Alice. Basically, her circle of friends from Rainbow Six Siege is where she made them as friends, and then they became my friends by proxy.
Mm-hmm.
They are very much the PvP crowd. I'm not.
Okay.
I absolutely despise playing anything that has a PvP mode in it.
Yeah, I wouldn't gravitate towards that in this.
Yeah, it's the way I'm wired. I hate the troll nature of the internet. I hate the whole being a D-bag to somebody because it's funny. Like, I don't like that. That's fine. That's the way I'm wired. I also understand this is a pirate game.
Yeah.
So there was some pirate tension on board the ship when 3 pirates are more traditionally pirates and 1 pirate is a well, can't we just go play music with them?
It's a lover, not really a pirate.
Yes, exactly. I'm a lover, not a pirate.
Yeah.
And that's me. That's my problem, because nobody else in this game is really like that. From every single encounter I've seen, I've had 2 positive encounters with people.
Mm-hmm.
Every single other encounter has been cannons at the ready. You're going down or we're going down, one way or the other.
Maybe I should pick up Game Pass so you and I can just pilot a sloop and just say, like, hey man, we're just here to play music and kill some skeletons and snakes, and like, I don't want to fight you guys, so you guys see you on the other island.
No,
have a good day.
We would get blown up instantly, because that's
Probably.
what people do. It's the nature of the game. It's a game about pirates, and I need to, and I hate using marketing terms here, I need to hashtag be more pirate, because I don't think I'm 100% wired for this kind of activity. Like, give me the MMOs where you team up with people and you do a raid and stuff like that. Yeah. Like I said, I avoid PvP modes. I can't help it. I get really annoyed in Rocket League when we're doing PvP matches. If someone starts talking smack, it's just like,
We don't need to do that, friend.
What does it even matter?
Yeah.
Can't we just all sit around a fire and share a story
They're, like,
about our
teabagging
adventures?
you with your car, and you're like, hey man, come on.
Exactly. It's me. It's
Not you, Sea of Thieves, it's me.
Exactly. It's not the game's fault. It's me thinking that there would be other people like me, like-minded out there, who just want to play music and have a dance at a port. There isn't.
Well, and that's, to me, that's sort of surprising, because I can only imagine the development costs that would be incurred, but I'm sort of surprised that there isn't like a PvP mode and a PvE mode, because it seems like for people like us, the PvE mode would be great. At the very least, not to run across anybody else and just sort of almost take it as like a single player grinding game where it's like, oh, I got an hour, I'm going to go sail, I'm going to do a bunch of missions, I'm going to take over a pirate fort, not solo, obviously, that's a hilarious idea.
You say that like my wife didn't do that yesterday.
Well, she's positively stubborn for stuff like that.
She's positively pirate is what she is.
That's fair.
She is designed for this game. This game is like injecting all that she needs into her veins. It's great.
Trolls unite. We have Sea of Thieves. Yeah.
But the funny thing is it's exciting. Like, minus the one section of pirate tension that occurred. After that, it was like, you know what? I'm going to try and embrace that side of things. Normally I don't. Normally I just walk away and don't even ever touch the game again.
Role play as a jerk.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm going to role play a jerk for a couple of weeks.
Right.
And we went back in and we were playing all of us together, and someone sank us. And it was really actually kind of interesting because we had a huge load of treasure. We were in the port selling it, and they sank us as we were selling all of our treasure. We sold all of our treasure. The ship sank. That's fine. The ship respawns. We respawned back on the ship. And then it turns out that same group was in the distance. So we thought, well, we've sold all of our treasure. Let's just smash into them as hard as we can with this galleon.
Got
going
nothing to
full
lose
speed.
at this point.
And it at those moments, it becomes super duper exciting where it's just like, no, this is a full-on pirate battle. And this ain't no Assassin's Creed cannons where you've got the line telling you where you're going to hit. This is fire, pay attention, and hope you hit them.
Yeah, like ride the waves and all that.
Exactly. And it's really fun. A lot of fun. Like, I haven't put as much time into this as my wife has. My wife has pretty much played this game and no other game, really, for the past, 5 days.
Wow.
But when I've been playing it, I'm legitimately having fun every single time. I'd load up, whether we now have a rule where we come to a consensus on course of action at the start of the game. So
nice. Very civil.
Whoever we're playing with, we have 3 basic tenets. Attack on sight.
Naturally.
Make friendly motions. Okay. And fire when fired upon. So
fair enough.
There are 3 tenants right now, and depending on who's in the group, we might sway towards one, and we all do a vote which one we want. and whichever one wins, that's what we do, and everybody's fine. We're all good with that.
It's very diplomatic. I like it.
It's a way to solve it, because this could be something that causes beef with people, and we ran into that. We ran into the tension. We had a discussion, all of us as adults, and we fixed it. It's like, okay, are we running as full-on trolls today? Yes, we are. Okay, let's sink every single white flag. And it's fun. Just sailing the seas. Like, the game is absolutely gorgeous. Like, I cannot express.
It's incredibly beautiful.
And they've picked a really nice art style. The waves look hyper-realistic, whereas everything else doesn't, but it doesn't detract from the cartoony style of it in that nature.
Yeah.
The one major issue I have with the game right now is it's a little lacking on content. It's a little grindy, because you literally have the three factions, and then they give you what types of quest, you know?
Yeah.
Go get these chests, go get these chickens, go kill these skeleton lords. Like, okay, so it's your combat, your trade, and your digging up treasure types of missions. Other than that, it's up to you. If you want to, like, my wife and I spent like 3 hours just literally sailing all 4 corners of the map, looking for buried, sunken ships. Because you'll see like a flock of birds in the air. You go over there and there's a ship either sinking or under the water, that you have to dive into the sea and then explore this upside down underwater ship to try and get all of the treasure in it, and then you bring it back and you sell it and you profit. And that was really fun. Like, we just decided to do it, and we did it, and it was really great. And then you get other situations where there's a Skull Island, which is basically a community raid event kind of thing, where skeletons just keep spawning, and once you've killed enough, the captain appears, he drops a key, the key opens the big, huge door with a bunch of treasure in. While my wife was playing solo, she came across a battle between 3 galleons, like 3 of the 4-person ships.
Right.
All fighting over this island, trying to stake their claim to the island and the treasure. So she just hid in one of the masts on the galleons and waited to see who won.
That sounds about right. That is very piratey.
Yes, it is.
I feel like I guess we'll dive into it. The community's response to this game overall has been largely negative, and I feel like that might be a little generous to it. And I feel like those people that are really enjoying it right now are looking at it and saying, well, it's fun to make our own fun right now.
Yes.
Like, that
is the perfect descriptor. If you look at it from the, like, for lack of a better way to put it, if you look at this as a video game, it is lacking.
Yeah.
But people said the same thing about Minecraft. It's Lego in video game format. This is pirate ships in video game format.
Yeah.
You know, it's battleships in video game format. It's what you make of it is where the fun comes from it.
Yeah, and I think for me, looking at it, I think the biggest misstep here is Rare's communication so far, saying like, well, this is just the beginning. Like, we have way more stuff planned to sort of continue to feed the game. And I think as soon as that happened, the games as a service flag went up, and everyone's like, oh, I can't believe that game's not done. Which I think there's an element of that is fair, because Sea of Thieves, it seems to me, the grind there, the quote-unquote grind, seems a lot like Destiny 2's grind, where it's like, all right, this is cool, and you start getting into it, and you're like, all right, I'm upping my rep, this is great, and then at some point you go, I'm upping my rep for nothing.
This is the biggest issue. Sea of Thieves, it's a positive and a negative thing they've done is it's for cosmetics. That's what you are grinding your rep for. That's what you're getting gold for, is to buy cosmetics.
Yeah.
Now, as the traditional video game players we want loot. We want not loot as in chests of gold. We want loot as in
a new
this
gun.
Increases our stats.
Right.
This increases our X. This increases our Y. That's what we're looking for when we play video games. We're looking for the increases that make us feel more powerful as individuals.
Right.
The problem is, we're not the majority anymore.
Yeah.
You look how well Overwatch is done, you look how well Dota's done. People don't care about the guns that make you more powerful anymore, it feels like. It feels like all people care about is how you look.
And I think the difference with Sea of Thieves is you already have the tools at your disposal.
Yeah.
Like, you have everything that you can get right at the beginning. And I think Sea of Thieves, a large positive and negative is that there's no tutorial. And if you haven't seen anything from Sea of Thieves, you may think I'm exaggerating. There's literally no tutorial. You are sent out into the world on an outpost island with a ship, and you got to figure it out. And you and your friends will need to figure out. I think that's a very big positive and a very big negative, depending sort of on who you are. I think if there was some language at the beginning of the game of, like, here's what rep does, or here, like, when you talk to your first, person at the outpost or something, that might do a lot to soothe, saying, like, you're not going to get better weapons, you can change the 3 weapons you have, but this is sort of what you're getting.
Yeah.
You can make them look different, and that's about it.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure there will be a lot more coming as things go on.
Yeah.
I think the issue that they might run into at some point, I kind of think the reason why they don't have any stat increase kind of items is because at that point you're just not just matchmaking, at that point you're not just lobbying everybody, you're matchmaking people.
Yeah,
which
that's true.
If they have that in place, they might start doing it down the line. They might say, okay, yeah, you can now increase your sword or whatever, or your attack power by doing X amount of stuff or whatever. Right. If they do that and they start matchmaking with people who are similarly leveled, that's fine.
Yeah.
I would hate to see how this launch would have gone if they would have needed to start doing that from day one as well.
Yeah. Sea of Thieves has so many problems that I think the thing that I would have liked to have almost seen them do is not sell Sea of Thieves, but make it a Game Pass exclusive. Because I feel like people who have played it on Game Pass are sort of saying, like, my friends and I were sailing around, it's alright, it's pretty good. And people that paid $60 for it are looking at this. To them, it's looking a lot, I haven't played it, to be clear. They're looking at it as sort of a shell that hasn't yet been filled. Yep. And that shell seems awfully empty for something that costs $60 and doesn't have a lot of meat in it.
Yeah.
And I think that's
I can understand
a bummer.
Where they're coming from. I genuinely can.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's do your research. It's know what it is going in.
Yeah.
I keep telling people, stop pre-ordering games. It's that simple.
I think this is a game. I think if you want to, for right or for wrong, I think you can look at Sea of Thieves very much like you can look at Rainbow Six Siege. Siege, when it launched, was not a great game. A lot of people didn't even think it was a good game. It
was above average, but it wasn't great in my opinion. I loved so much about it, and they made some really poor decisions.
Yeah, and I think you look at Siege 3 years on, and you see a great game that is cheap with an incredible amount of content. And I think you look at Sea of Thieves 3 years from now, I think you're going to see something pretty similar. 3 years from now, we're going to go back to this episode and be like, whatever. But
how funny, Rare got shut down 2 weeks later.
God, I hope not. But I think the positive and the negative of games as a service, which is a term I hate because it's now such a pejorative, is that you do have this game that is not going to have any DLC or expansions or microtransactions or whatever. And I think that's the positive. They might do that down the line, but so far that seems to be where they're going. And then you can buy this game 3 years from now for probably $40, $30, $20. Install a giant 150 gig patch for all the stuff they put in there. after that point and have a hell of a fun time. But you really... I don't want to say early adopters get punished, because if you're having fun with the game right now, you're not getting punished. It's just the amount of stuff in there is thin and the progression is thin, that if you don't want to make your own fun, if you're sort of stat chasing or bar chasing, there's really not that much in there for you right now. But the thing that's really been frustrating me is, and I'm sure you've seen this a little bit online, is people are comparing it to No Man's Sky. You'll see No Man's Sea out there a lot.
Ugh.
I think that's grossly unfair, because when No Man's Sky launched, that was a game that had a lot of promise, but also was a game that truthfully came out on the back of a lot of lies.
Yes.
And that was a game that was largely misrepresented. I think when
all you got to do is look at the Great Jurassic Park video that someone's done for that for No Man's Sky.
And I think when you look at No Man's Sky, a game I did and do enjoy, I don't think that compares to Sea of Thieves at all, because Sea of Thieves actually has multiplayer in it that functions.
Yep.
And I think that's going to be, for a lot of people, the crux of the enjoyment, like we talked about before with making your own fun. That sounds like the most attractive stuff, where it's even not like, all right, today we're not even going to do any missions. I have seen this point on the map. I just want to go there and see what's on that island, or get into trouble, or, like you said, we're just going to go troll mode today. And I just want to attack as many ships as possible.
Yep.
And if that sounds fun to you, Game Pass is $10 a month. That's an incredible value.
Yeah, 100%.
If it doesn't sound that fun to you, wait a year. I know this sucks.
Wait 6 months?
Yeah, even wait 6 months to see what Sea of Thieves is in 6 months, a year, 3 years. Because I'm going to be surprised if Microsoft just drops it, because they've put so much effort and so much marketing and et cetera into this, that I'd be surprised if they just, in 2 months, they're like, all right, we tried, but Sea of Thieves servers are getting shut down. It seems like it's going to be another one of those games that is going to be totally different in 6 months, a year, or 3 years. And that might suck if you didn't know what you were getting for your $60. And that is frustrating. And that video game marketing is occasionally pretty shady. But
no, it's not occasionally pretty shady. Video game marketing is shady, period.
Yeah, the majority of the time is often very shady.
It is this whole pre-order trailer cycle BS. It's designed to take your money before the game is even out. Yep. Every single game does it. If you are not sure about a game, if you are excited about a game, and if you're one of these people who will drop $60 on day one and then complain about it on day two, don't drop $60 day one. Stop complaining about stuff. Start watching Twitch. Start looking at video reviews. There is thousands of ways to get information out there. So, yeah, I understand your argument. I'm completely patient with it. I can understand where you're coming from. Learn your lesson so that next game that comes out, you're not doing the exact same thing all over again, because I know the majority of people who do this will do it every major release.
Well, and it's the same people that played Destiny 2 for 150 hours in the first week, and they're like, where the hell's all the rest of the content? I've already hit that limit. It's like, yeah,
150
bro.
hours.
Like, of course you did. And I think we are not sponsored by Microsoft, to be clear. I think that's where the real strength of Game Pass is on stuff like this. $10 a month is nothing to try out a game like Sea of Thieves, where it's an unknown quantity. And if it disappoints you in a couple of days, or you fire it up and you're like, man, this is not a game for me at all, you are out $10, but you're not out a ton of time that you could play the other, 176 games that are on Game Pass or whatever it is.
Not even to mention that if that's you and you're not feeling Sea of Thieves right now, use Game Pass, cancel it. Come back in 2 months when State of Decay 2 comes out to give that a try and see how you feel about that game. and maybe at that point dip your feet back into Sea of Thieves, and then if you're still not happy with State of Decay 2 or Sea of Thieves, come back in 4 months when Crackdown 3 comes out,
Right.
give that a go, and then dip your feet back into State of Decay 2 and dip your feet back into Sea of Thieves. It's the Netflix service, which everybody gave Netflix a whole bunch of crap about their service at the start, and especially now that they're they're losing more and more content from other stations.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Netflix releases something new. I think once every 17 days, they've got a new movie or TV series on their service. So
Yeah.
great. Use that money that, of all companies that I could see, Phil and Microsoft taking this money that they're getting from this kind of investment and then cycling it straight back in to more development.
Yeah.
Not that Microsoft needs a bunch more money to do that.
Yeah.
They're probably in the best condition out of all of the big three for that.
Yeah.
But come back in 2 months, wait until another game you want goes onto Game Pass, and then dip your toes back in again.
And I feel like that's the biggest... I feel like... This is going to sound funny. I think Sea of Thieves' problem is it has a really big butt. And it's always, Sea of Thieves is really fun, but X, Y, and Z. You know, it's like, for some people, their butt is going to be different than other people's butts, but...
Well, there is a character model discrepancy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, some of the characters are larger than the others, you know. And I think you have to take, you know, like, as much as I love Jim Sterling, like, don't listen to the Jim Sterlings of the world on Sea of Thieves, because they're going to say, it's $60, should be a $5 game, they stole your money, etc., etc. Listen to the people...
It's a $10 game.
Yeah, exactly. You know, listen to the people that are saying, well, here are the things that I find fun about this game. I wish it had X, Y, and Z. Because I think when you look at that, I think that's when you can start sussing out if the game is for you. Because if you listen to Moonpier say, you and your 3 friends get to make your own fun. If that sounds super exciting, then it sounds like that game's for you. When I hear about Sea of Thieves like that, I sort of go, yeah, maybe, that's not really up my alley.
Yeah. I think on our Discord channel, there was some good conversation between the 2 people I know who are most prone to having that group of friends and making their own fun, which is my wife and her Rainbow Six crew, and T-Bomb and his crew of Friday Night Fellas. Those 2 groups of people are specifically perfect for this kind of game.
Yep.
And I'm the same way. Like, I haven't played this with anyone other than my wife and her crew, and I've had so much fun playing it. But at the same time, while I'm sitting there playing it, I'm looking at it and thinking, Boston's never going to play this game.
Yeah, I keep looking at it and thinking, like, but here's the thing. Crackdown 3 is going to be out later this year. I will pick up Game Pass and probably try it out for Crackdown because it's not $60. Not that I don't have faith that Crackdown is going to be good. I think I will like it, and I think it will be average, probably. I don't think it's going to be Game of the Year, but I don't think it's going to be trash. At that point, I can seriously look at Sea of Thieves and say, all right, well, at the very least, Moonpier and I can pilot a sloop, and the 2 of us can go do whatever stuff is in Sea of Thieves at that point.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Gotta give full credit where it's due, by the way. So far, the best looking pirate that I've seen goes to community member Almighty Tooth. That dude's pirate is ridiculously cool looking.
Yeah.
Just something about him, he's the best looking character model I've seen. The hair, the coat, everything about him looks fantastic. Best stupid pun to do with pirates so far is my wife, anytime she is in a sloop, she calls it sloop there it is.
I thought she was going to call it the sloop troop, but
I was
there it is way better.
Sloop de whoop.
Yeah.
But I think sloop there it is takes the cake in this category. But
yeah,
Sea of Thieves at this point, especially 5 days after release at this point.
Yeah, like not even a week.
Yeah, you will know if it's for you or not, and if you're not sure, just look at more videos, look at more coverage of it, because the game is everywhere.
Or just wait a little bit. Just server issues will die down. They're still having minor server issues, and there's going to be more stuff in the game.
If you're an achievement hunter, wait, because none of the achievements are popping right now.
Yeah, or they pop like half an hour later. If at all.
If at all. Because on I think the second day, my wife and I got 21 chests in our sloop, which is a miracle in itself.
Yeah.
There is an achievement for having 20. Neither of us have got that achievement, and we probably never will. But that's fine, because I'm having fun with it, and I will go in and I will gladly take that challenge to try and get 20 chests again. I'll gladly do it, because it's legitimately fun for me.
Yeah.
But enough Sea of Thieves for now, I think.
Till next week.
Yes, till next week. I'm sure I'll have a lot more to say about it next week as well. So, I decided I need to take down my 300 installed games, some, especially because I just keep seeming to add more to it. Why do I keep installing more games?
I have a problem.
So, I played some ACA games. Return of the Neo Geo. 2020 Super Baseball.
I love that game.
I talked about this previously. It's so hard.
Yes.
It's ridiculously difficult, and I tried to cheese my way to getting all of the achievements I needed to never play this game again.
Yeah.
That went terribly. Because the cheese way is you stand at the far side of the plate when the pitcher throws the ball, you just run in as fast as you can to the plate, get hit by it, and then you get your bases.
Right.
According to standard baseball rules. Not this weird mine-laden mega
Not
baseball
robot
stuff.
space baseball.
Yeah. That wasn't going so well for me, so I thought, screw it, let's just try and play the game. Suddenly, I'm really good at 2020 Super Mega Robot Baseball game.
Yeah.
And I got really good and beat it in like 2 days, so yay!
Wow. Hey.
I might end up leaving it on my console because it's actually really cool.
Yeah, that's a great game.
It's so much fun to actually play. ACA Neo Geo Burning Fight.
Burning Fight.
Yes, in Streets of Rage before Streets of Rage. 2D side-scrolling beat 'em up. It's okay. It's nothing special. It's
Streets of Rage kind of upped the game when it came out.
As far as I'm concerned, Streets of Rage 2 is probably the best side-scrolling beat 'em up ever made.
I have a sweet spot for 3 as well, but I know 2 is a better game.
Yes, 3 is good, 2 is better.
Yeah.
And anyone who thinks Double Dragon is better can come at me, bro, because I will.
Yeah. Double Dragon 1 and 2 are both good games, but to me it's like fighting games of the era before Street Fighter 2 came out. When Street Fighter 2 came out, you were like, "Oh, okay. This is our new baseline. Like you got to beat this."
Yeah, and Burning Fight is Street Fighter 1 to Streets of Rage. It's very,
fine.
very basic, but it was fun. It was a good way to waste 2 hours of my week. So
yeah.
Had fun, get another game deleted off my system. Yay. The PC alphabetical order list continues with the game I forgot to talk about last week because I didn't want to try and write down the title in the middle of the show. It is called 12 Labors of Hercules 2, The Cretan Bull. Now give us 5 minutes while Boston writes that down on his pad.
Hercules, the Cretan Bull.
Yes. This, I think credit for this one goes to T-Bomb. So thank you, T-Bomb. It's your fault that this is getting talked about on the show. For the record. So it's, I want to say it's a puzzle game, but it's really not. It's more of it's kind of like a clicker.
Okay.
But kind of not at the same time. It's really weird. You have an objective each level. So you start off, it's like, oh, you need to clear this bridge. But to clear the bridge, there's a big rock in the way. And you have two of your slaves helping you. I'm going to specifically say slaves because they might be referred to as like helpers or workers. But let's be honest. Yes.
Yeah.
So you have to get your little dudes to go and pick up food from around the map. Then clear the path around the map. so that Hercules can go up to the big rock and punch it out the way and then clear the level. It's feels like a weird Disney-fied version of the Hercules story, because I just passed a level with Medusa, and he went to see Medusa, and she left him a little note saying, "Gone to the beach, love you, Medusa," little heart. It's like, okay.
All right. Nobody dies in this game, I guess.
No. Something tells me this is 100% a kid's game.
Yeah.
And that's fine. It's really, the art style is really cool, like really cute, really well done. It's, like I said, it's basically a clicker. It's like a glorified version of a clicker. But it's a really good switch my brain off, because I don't really need to bring in my 30-something years of video game playing experience to do well at it. I can just click the mouse a couple of times and it's done.
Yeah.
So it's working really well as that kind of unwinding game.
Yeah, I'm looking at the art style here. It looks pretty cool. It has a very distinctive art style, but it looks like it does skew younger.
Yes, very much so. And the fact that the play button, it takes up like 3/4 of your screen when you load up the game, definitely makes me think kids
Came right
game.
out of an iPad.
Yes. No, maybe not an iPad, but maybe one of those CD-ROMs that you get given at church.
Oh, yeah. Wow, there are 7 of these games.
Yep.
Wow. You can buy all 7 on Steam right now for $16.73.
That's like $2 a game.
Yeah.
Just over.
Made by Jet Dogs Studios.
Exactly.
A great name.
So, yeah, there we go. The list continues. I've done 12, and now I'm up to the next one. I can't remember what game is next. Man. It should be interesting to see.
Yeah.
My final game this week, A Way Out.
Oh, man. I want to play this game.
Sorry, was that jealousy I had right there?
Yeah, it was. This game looks so good.
Okay, I'm going to start with the negative, and then we'll go with the positive.
Okay.
Negative, I think this game was made in France.
I'm fairly sure it was, yeah.
I don't say that anything being made in France is a negative thing. I'm saying that because this game is hella French.
Oh, really?
Like, do you remember playing the early Assassin's Creed games and you get that, oh wow, this is really cool, but that's a French guy speaking in English?
Yeah, yes.
And that is definitely something inspired by the French. Mm-hmm. That's the feeling that this game gives off.
Right.
It's got that very much Ubisoft kind of feel where it's like, this is so French. Like, so very French.
Like, you guys got so close, but that's not what happens in San Francisco.
Yes, exactly. It's that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
The voice acting could be better. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know who does the non-mutton chop guy, who does the guy with the beard. He's okay. The guy who does the mutton chops, I think, is a Frenchman or a German trying to speak with an American accent.
Oh, look here. I actually haven't seen who does
Vincent.
that.
It's not Vincent. Vincent is the guy I'm playing as. It's the other guy. The guy with the mutton chops, I think, is Leo. I don't know what it is about his voice.
It's just not doing it for you.
No, not really. And it's a little distracting at times.
Leo's voice actor, his name is Faris.
Okay.
Who's Vincent? Eric Krogh. He has played Swedish voice actor. He's been in a lot of Scandinavian TV shows.
I'm curious if I've got the names messed up then, and that's the guy I'm thinking of, is the guy with the mutton chops.
No, the guy with the mutton chops is the other guy. Swedish Lebanese actor.
Yeah, he needs to work on his accent, if I'm completely honest. But,
yeah.
It could be better. It's something that you learn when you're playing stuff like Life is Strange, stuff like Uncharted, that voice actors kind of do make a big difference in games. I think if they would have dropped the big money and got some of the big names in for this, which they probably couldn't because it was probably getting made around the time of the writers' strike or the strike. I think this game could be something one of a kind. I think this could be potential 2018 Game of the Year contender already.
Right. Or just like lean into it more. Like if you have an accent, like just have the full thing in the game.
Yes. now that my negatives are out the way, let's talk about the positives. This game is made in Frostbite.
Okay, great.
People can love or hate Frostbite as much as they want. That is a gorgeous engine.
Yep.
Probably one of the most beautiful engines out there right now, I would say.
I'd say, yeah.
I feel like this game is doing for video games what 24 did for cinematography.
Okay.
Where 24, when it came around, it was so unique and so well done because, well, number one, it told a great story, apparently. I've never seen 24, folks.
I haven't either.
But it did... You, like me, have to be aware of the shooting style it did, where when it did the interstitial breaks, it did the different, different...
interlocking frames, almost.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
This feels like it's trying to do that for video games. Because, for anyone who doesn't know, A Way Out is essentially, it's supposed to be a couch co-op game. You are supposed to play it with somebody else sitting in your house with you at the same time.
Yeah, like splits the screen appropriately.
Yep. It splits the screen. The at first it's down the middle, and then whoever is supposed to have the focus on them, it will shrink down one of the screens and widen out that focused screen for that character, and then do vice versa.
Or when you guys are together, it has some unsplit screen stuff.
It hasn't so far for me, but I'm not.
I remember
sure.
that from the trailer, where the two of them were together for some reason or another, and it was just the full screen for both of them because only one character was doing something. I think.
Yeah, We've had that on cutscenes.
Oh, okay.
It has a little bit of a Heavy Rain vibe to it because there are QTEs in the middle of cutscenes.
Okay.
Which, to be honest, it's fine.
It's not a mortal sin anymore.
No, it's not. It's telling a really interesting story, and the way about telling that story it's doing so well is that split.
Yeah. Because
so far, we've only played it a little bit. For the record, I am playing this with my wife, sitting on the same couch as me. Odd twist, on her own television.
Right.
Because why not?
You can play with someone else if they have the demo and you invite them?
That I don't know, because we get a copy of everything the other person owns anyway.
Oh, sure. So you both have a copy.
So we both have the game.
Right.
So we have... I'm trying to think of a way to phrase this or talk about it without trying to give too much away, because this is a game about the narrative, I think.
Yeah, it's very story-focused.
Yes. So we both play different characters. One is... Again, I forgot the names already. Leo is the one with the mutton chops, who is super aggressive, super devil-may-care, who would just do something super spontaneously. Mm-hmm. Vincent is the cold, calculated, patient kind of one. Right. Guess who I play? Guess who my wife plays? You got it right, folks.
Just fit in that slot real nicely.
Exactly. So we have been introduced to each other. We are brought together in a prison because they're both sent to prison. I can't tell if my character is lying to her character about certain things or not, but there seems to be a crossed history, but I'm not 100% sure because I can't tell if he's just using information he has picked up as a bystander to tell a lie. But so far they're helping each other out, and we have just hit the point where we have escaped from the walls of the prison and are on the run.
Okay.
So we are currently running from helicopters, and then we decided to call it a night because it was almost midnight by the time we got to that point.
Yeah.
But it's been really good so far. They're telling a really interesting story. Like I said, I think my biggest issue with this is the voice actors are pulling me out a little bit, just because when the mutton chop guy decides he wants to say something in an American accent, I can hear that Eastern European underlying thing there, which maybe that's just because I'm from Europe and I'm used to hearing that accent, so I'm more capable of hearing the subtleties of it. Maybe it's not, I don't know, but it's telling a really interesting story, and so far I'm kind of hooked.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that by the time we get done here, when I go downstairs, if Jess has done everything she needs to do and is not in the middle of blowing people up in Sea of Thieves, that hopefully we can actually continue the story, because it's kind of getting my interest and I want to see how many different ways there are to do things in the game. I'm very curious about more and more of it as I go, and I can't remember if it was 20 or 30 bucks, but it's
I just looked, it's 30.
Okay, so yeah, it's not even a $60 game, so might be worth playing it with other people.
Yeah.
For anybody of a... How do I... If you are not comfortable with the human form, be very careful at the start of the game. There is potential for frontal nudity from a male character. So be aware of that going in. Please do your Googling and your research on ratings before you play games.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really enjoying it, like, a lot. I kind of want to... Can you talk to them and I just go play it?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay.
See you later.
But yeah, that's all I've been playing. I will have more to say on our way out next week, hopefully. I am hoping to hopefully finish it by next week. And then we'll see what the final verdict on it is.
Yeah. Boy, I got a lot of stuff. We're already like an hour and 15 minutes in recording, and I got a lot of stuff to talk about here.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, that's okay. Sea of Thieves is a big release. Like, we just have a big release this week. I played probably about 2 or so hours of the latest TVGP Game Club game, The Swapper, which so far is really good, and it's one of those puzzle games that makes me feel a little dumb in a positive way.
Yeah.
The whole idea of the game is you're sort of an astronaut, and using this thing you have, you can make copies of yourself and very quickly switch between yourself and some of your copies. And so far, it's really good. Just the right amount of narrative. The puzzles so far have been really great. Each section builds on the previous puzzles. So it's like, all right, now I know how to do this stuff. I feel really great. What the hell is it asking me to do here now? I can't figure this out. And then you overcome that, and it's like, oh, okay, cool. Wait, what?
Yeah.
So far, real good. I don't know how long this one is. I think How Long to Beat said it's like 6 hours or so. But so far I'm really intrigued, and it seems really good. So I probably won't talk too much more about it, because we're gonna have to save all that stuff for Game Club. But so far it seems really great.
Yeah, unfortunately I was thieved away from it this week.
Yeah, on the seas.
Yep.
Sony had this big sale called the Great Indoors sale.
Oh, wow.
Oh, God, so much stuff is on sale. So I scooped up...
Are they based in New York? Because that would make sense.
Probably, yeah. I scooped up, I think it was 5 games for $35.
Nice.
And one of them was Everybody's Golf. Because I think it was like $7.
Isn't that the modern renaming of...
Hot Shots Golf.
That's the one.
Yeah. So the series now is going to the Japanese name, which is weird. I have never played a Hot Shots Golf game seriously before. I owned the one on Vita and played a little bit of it, but it sort of never clicked with me. And of course, the really weird one clicks with me.
Well, yeah, it's you.
This game is so weird. It's trying so hard to try to live up to its name. Then I haven't really spent too much time on the multiplayer side because I don't care, and it's set up really strangely. The single player is really weird in and of itself because you're golfing, but you're also competing against like 17 other people.
Okay.
Like AI characters that are all also golfing on the course at the same time you are. Thankfully, your brain pretty quickly removes them and you're just golfing. but it's sort of weird to see like 8 people tee off at the same time that you are.
Is this like a ghost situation?
No, because as far as I can tell, they're not multiplayer. It's not like Drivatar or anything. Which
No, like are they teeing off from the exact same tee where you're standing? So like they're passing through you and their ball doesn't interfere with you?
It doesn't interfere at all. Yeah, thankfully, because that'd probably be my breaking point for this game. So a lot of that is really weird, but the thing I always forget about this series is that at some point it starts being a serious golf game, and it's not just, here's a bunch of anime people playing golf, isn't that funny? And really quickly it's like, no, you need to actually play a golf game. It's not the world's most simulation golf. It's a 3-click game, so it's not, it's not going to be the golf club.
Yeah.
It's not going to be that, like, you're a hair's breadth off, so next thing you know, you're in the trees and on a cart path. I wrote a lot of notes for this game. I think the thing that I like so much about Everybody's Golf right now is it's the right speed for me right now. Like, it's the exact game I want to play right now. I can make a shot, I can pause the game to read a book to my kid, and then she finds something else much more interesting, so I can go back and play a couple of holes until I have to sort of rinse and repeat at that point.
Yeah.
Two things have really been driving me nuts. One of them is because I haven't really played a lot of the Hot Shots golf games before, so I didn't know how to do the special shots. And I get the impression that they just say, oh, here's the spiral shot. You know how to do that already. Just go ahead and do it. And if you haven't done it before, it doesn't make any sense. So a lot of the special shots are, they tell you so you have 3-click, so you have your first click to build up your power. It says, oh, while you're setting your power, hold hit the left D-pad button. And then after you've set your power and you're going to do your impact, hit the right D-pad button. That's not how that actually works. What you're supposed to do is you hit for your impact and you hold the left D-pad button, and then release when you do your your second click, and then hold the other direction, and then it sort of curves if you hit the shot well enough. And like for that specific one, if you hit the pin when you're chipping, like for that curved shot specifically, it'll spin around the pin and drop straight down, and it'll give you like a special power shot.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and there's one for topspin and backspin too, which is really fun, but I had to go look up a YouTube video because the thing it tells you to do in-game isn't the thing you do at all. Because I thought you'd have to hit X and a direction at the same time, where it's like tap and then tap the other one. That is 100% not how that works.
How very Monster Hunter of it?
Yeah, like it's sort of like, you know how to do this, see you later. It's like, no, wait, help, no.
Yep.
Some tutorials for how to do that shot, or even just like a video in game saying like, here's how you do this shot. Watch, the D-pad in the lower right-hand corner. This is what we're doing.
Yeah.
The other thing is camera options. Oh my god. Oh my god. All I want in a golf game is a follow camera. I want the camera to follow the ball when it leaves the tee. That's it. I don't want anything else unless I'm in a replay and then I'm trying to make the shot look cool. There are 5 or 6 different shots it will choose at random as soon as you hit it. That's maddening. And part of the thing is, half the time I'm just watching the little, like,
the radar.
Like the little drawing of the course on the bottom, just to tell where the hell my ball's going to go, because there have been a lot of times where this game is really Japanese, where you hit the ball and then your character just just sprints after the ball to go see where it lands, and there's like a trail of dust coming off of their feet.
Oh, wow.
It's very Japanese, which is fun because it's not taking itself too seriously. But like, there have been a number of times where the camera stays stuck in the tee box, and my ball is just like 300 yards away. And I have and the next thing you know, it's like water hazard. It's like, well, how the hell did that happen? Like, I didn't. At some point, you meet a guy in your home area, which is sort of the game's hub, and he challenges you to some like a questionnaire about like challenge questions about golf in general. And the first unlock, the way that they describe it is that that camera in the Tiger Woods games, where you hit a button and it zooms to where your shot is going to land.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, perfect, because if not, I have to hold up on the D-pad and triangle to send my camera forward and up across the fairway so I can see where my ball is going to land. And I was like, that's all I really want. I want to hit L2, which is the button, and it's going to zoom over there. But there's one problem.
Okay.
In Tiger Woods, when you zoom, it basically... from your character, it goes straight to where your ball is going to land, and you see it from where, like, straight in front of you. What Everybody's Golf does is it does that, and you see the part where your ball is going to land in reverse. So, like, instead of looking straight at where the ball is going to land, it flips the camera 180. So, like, anytime you try to move the cursor, if you're pushing left... it
goes right.
Yeah, it's actually going right. And it's like, why would you do this? How did this happen? Who greenlit this?
I'd like to introduce you to a little golf game called Power Star Golf for the Xbox One.
Power Star Golf is really good.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. The sad part is not the sad part.
The sad part is Boston's having fun.
It was literally the sentence I was going to say. But the frustrating part is I'm having a lot of fun with everything else. Like, you're leveling up your golfer. You don't get stats for your golfer. Your individual clubs get better depending on how you golf. You do a lot of backspin, the backspin gets better. You do a lot of long shots on clubs, the power gets better. So I like that. That's a lot of fun. As you level up your golfer, you're golfing in like a one-on-one match against these other golfers that have specific things they like to do, or like this person's really great at putting but not great at power, or this person's really great at power but they're going to land in the bunker all the time. Or there were two challenges I had to do. They usually have special rules on them. The two that were particularly devious, the last one I did was you couldn't use any of your woods, which was incredibly frustrating.
Yep.
The other one was if you land in the rough, you get a penalty stroke added. And I'm just like, well, that's insult to injury. Like, that's not fair. But then the other person kept getting water hazards. So I was like, well, that's fine. I'm going to win.
Okay.
I like Everybody's Golf a lot, and I'm glad I have it digitally because I can just play a little bit. I can finish 9 holes, and then I can sort of go off onto whatever else I'm playing. But it's kind of not well made.
Yeah.
But the golfing itself is really well made, which is weird.
Yeah. Is it one of these things where you can look past the irritations because the game is so good?
Yeah.
Or is it getting to the point where the irritations are building up and it's affecting how you feel about the rest of the game at this point?
I think it's the former, because I have found very quickly that as I get better at the game and my character's clubs get better, I can work around the camera limitations. Where, like, it seems like there's only 7 courses in the game, which is thin. But now that I have 4 of them open, I kind of know the courses by the back of my hand. So it's sort of like, all right, on this hole, on the mini map at the bottom, you have this really big yellow circle, which is the region where your ball is going to land. And it's like, all right, I can hit that with top spin, so it's going to roll like crazy. And the wind is, northwest at 5 miles an hour. So I can sort of manage my shots. So I feel like I don't need those camera options anymore because I'm getting better at the game.
Yeah.
But it makes, especially the lack of a true follow camera, it does it every once in a while. I'm sort of like, yeah, that's the stuff. The lack of that makes it really hard to follow the action or sort of be in it, because a lot of times they'll switch the camera and you're just looking at blue sky and then your ball falls like right next to the camera. It's like, oh, well,
yeah,
okay. Thankfully, I was a good shot, but okay. So I feel like I'm sort of working around it. I think because I'm enjoying the game so much.
Yeah.
I think, unfortunately, I don't have 400 hours to platinum the game. I think the amount of content in there is really pretty good, but to get the platinum, you basically have to defeat all of the versus characters, which are the ones you get through leveling up, and you have to defeat all the secret versus characters. Like, I've gotten 2 of them so far. One for sinking 50 birdies in official rounds, and one for doing 100. Some of them are pretty crazy. One of them is like, sink 5 albatrosses. It's like, well, that's probably not going to happen.
Yep.
And it's like, sink 10 hole-in-ones. It's like, I've done one of those, but I didn't get the trophy because it wasn't in an official round. It was an unofficial. It's like, that will kill me and drive me crazy. So
yeah,
I just shouldn't worry about it.
Yeah,
but
I hate that kind of stuff.
But it's like, it's, Binding of Isaac level where the when I looked at the platinum, it was 0.5% of people had the platinum. It's like, but now I want it. I want to be in the elite. But I won't be. I mean, no. I might over the next couple of years, because I'll always have it installed and I can just go play a quick golf game. But
by that time, it'll be a 1%er, and then
why bother?
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody's got it now. Sheesh. Lego Marvel Superheroes 2.
Okay.
The saga continues.
This is definitely not the one I have, by the way. I checked.
Okay. You probably have Lego Marvel Avengers?
I have Lego Marvel Superheroes.
Okay. That one was good.
One. Yes.
2 is not.
Oh, wow.
So, to be fair, I'm in the part of a Lego game that I don't enjoy, which is just get through the story.
Yep.
You cannot unlock every Stan Lee. He's begging for my help. I cannot save you, Stan Lee. I don't have Doctor Strange in this level. I'm so sorry.
I was just say you don't have Loki's freeze power.
Yeah, exactly. Sega Herb says, I get those games confused also. Like, there's like 2 Avengers games and 2 superhero games, and yeah, there's a lot of them. So I'm sort of in that part that I don't like. I love when you finish the story, you have all the free play open, and you can just... There are 20 levels in this game. Oh my god, that's so many. So like...
Really? You've got it lucky, dude, because when I bought 1, I got the season pass for it. I think there's like 32 levels.
Yeah, this is 20 just for the story without the season pass.
Nice.
So like, there's a ton. I can already feel myself getting Lego Batman 3'd because my new verb of the day. The problem is the whole story is Kang the Conqueror has taken all of these Marvel worlds across time and smushed them all next to Manhattan.
Oh no, that sounds so cool.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Like, I'm driving through frozen Manhattan into Spider-Man Noir's downtown.
Oh no, that
and then I'm going
to
Asgard, and then I'm going into Wakanda, like, just by passing over a bridge.
Oh, I hate you, Boston.
But then every time you get into a new area, you get... Here's a Ubisoft tower for you. You find a data terminal that you interact with, and it literally spews out icons out of it onto the map. It's like ping, ping, ping. 20 icons come out and go pew, 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 pew. And it's like, those are just missions alongside of normal missions that you just pick up from someone on the street, or bad guys you just beat up, where it's like, I beat up 4 bad guys, and it's like, all right, good job. 1 of 52 petty crimes solved. And it's just like, I'm sorry?
Yep.
The what?
Lego Marvel Superheroes 1 has something similar to that.
It did, yeah.
Where all of the different areas have their own little collectible things. I've done with Manhattan now, which is the biggest one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's fine. But yeah, that's kind of the stuff I feel like they don't need to put in those games.
It's just like, to me, there's just a little too much. Like, probably my favorite Lego games are the 2 Harry Potter games. It's like, what is it, 1 through 4 and then 5 through 7?
Yes.
Those 2 are good because it's just Hogwarts and the surrounding areas. There's just enough stuff to do in there that you always feel like you're exploring and finding cool stuff. But it's never... Like, I finished half of the story mode. I have 5% completion.
Yep.
Like, that's maybe a little too much stuff.
I think I beat the story mode in 1. I think I'm halfway through doing the levels on free play mode, and I've cleared out Manhattan.
Yeah.
And I'm at 52%.
Yeah, it's sort of like, you only want to do that once.
Yeah.
And my other problem, too, is a lot of this... The whole idea of the game is basically you go to Avengers Mansion and you get 3 or 4 teams of superheroes, and they all have a job to do. And the game offers you the selection of, well, go with this person, go with this team, or go with this team. You're going to have to do them all anyway, so there's really no point in choosing who you want to do first.
Yeah.
I think one of my big problems is I feel like this game, out of any of them, has probably some of the worst boss battles that I've run into in a really long time. The thing that the bosses really love to do is they do their whole spiel, and you get into fighting them, and you fight like 1/8 of their health, and then they shield themselves, and they can't be hurt. So you have to do something in the level or beat up a bunch of their minions, and then they unshield another 1/8 and like rinse and repeat. That's too much. Like, I fought a boss battle against Kingpin that took me about 15 minutes.
Yep, in a Lego game.
Yeah, and it's like...
It'll took you 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's like, not that I want this game to be short. It's not going to be if I go for 100%. But I want it to move along at a clip.
Yes.
And I would sort of... If I was a kid, I'd probably be pretty frustrated, where it's like, okay, like, I'm still playing the same friggin' level. Like, can I just get on with it? So... Part of me feels silly for criticizing a Lego game, because you know what you're getting into when you get into it, and they've been largely the same games for their history. They just keep getting improved as time goes on. But I feel like every time a bad Lego game comes out, it's a real missed opportunity, because these games can be really good, like the Lego Harry Potter ones, or the Hobbit one. I actually really liked. That was a solid game.
The Hobbit one was pretty good.
But then you get ones like these that are sort of like, the level design is fine, but not really that clever. The boss battles are too long, or like the levels are like way too long, where I've spent an hour in this level, or I spent 20 minutes over in this one. And it's fine. And I think that's the mortal sin of Lego games, is when they're fine. Because you've played 10 other ones that have been really good. And just fine is maybe not good enough.
Yeah. I still think one of the best Lego game moments was in DC Superheroes. You play through like two-thirds of the game as Batman, and then Superman shows up like towards the end of the game. And the first time you get to take control of him, as you start flying, it fades out the Batman music and fades in the Superman theme.
It's
cool. Such a great moment. It's like, okay, you just stepped up from a fine game to a really great game.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm going to keep playing it. But unfortunately, I got the disc version because the download version is still $60. And I had to remove that out of my PS4 to put in Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom.
Oh, no. Here we go.
And that's not coming out anytime soon. So,
yep.
Let's talk about Ni no Kuni 2. Oh my god, this game is so good.
Should I buy it? As someone who didn't play the first one.
I will give two pieces of advice. If you played the first one and you didn't like it, go check out some stuff for this first one. They fixed all the problems.
Ooh.
If you didn't play the first one and you like JRPGs and you're in the mood to play a game that's on the pretty easy side, I would really recommend it so far. So I think I'm about 5 hours through and I'm on chapter 4. The beginning of the game, I've seen some criticism about it. I disagree. The story, starting immediately, moves at a very fast clip. I really like that because basically the game is rushing towards the point that I got to before I had to come up here and record, which is, hey, let's start building our kingdom. Yeah. Where the game starts out, surprisingly, is in modern day, where you're the president of a country, and a bomb destroys the city that you're driving to, like a missile comes in and blows up, and you get transported to this other world. And
okay.
And all of that, I was sort of like, well, this is not what I was expecting. But it'll make sense in a second. You run into this very young king, who is king of the hilariously named kingdom from the first one called Ding Dong Dell, which is a really great name.
Moving swiftly past that one.
Yeah. He's under a coup. His father's most trusted advisor kills his father, and there's all this stuff. Literally, like the first 10 minutes. It's really great.
Oh wow!
And it's basically, the cool part is you as your character, this older president that gets transported into this world as a younger man, is now a perfect fit to be the primary advisor for this king. As you find a kingdom, you make alliances with other kingdoms, you start, and now I'm at the point where I built a castle, and I'm starting to build the buildings in my kingdom, and start assigning people to them, and all that stuff.
I hate you.
That stuff has its hooks in me pretty immediately.
Mm-hmm. I raved about Peace Walker for about 5 years before anyone would listen to me because of the base building aspects. Then they did the exact same thing for 5, and everybody's like, this is so great. I was like, I was telling you that on the PSP.
What if you got to build Outer Heaven? Like, you started with an empty field?
Oh, no, like, Cloud.
Dark Cloud? Uh-huh.
Oh, I hate you.
Hey, guess what? Made by the same company.
I double hate you. Actually, at this point, it's like I 5 times hate you.
Yep, you $60 hate me. So, let's back up a little bit. It's a level 5 game that looks like a Studio Ghibli movie again. Same exact art style, now in 4K. I'm running a PS4 Pro, which now has super sampling. It looks so good. It looks incredibly good. The graphical quality is the last one came out on PS3. So it looks incredible now, and the thing they stepped up their game on over the last one is the use of colors. So Moonbear just typed in chat, I 10 times hate him now. There's this really cool attack that this one enemy does within the first hour or so at the end of the first dungeon, and it's like blue and purple and yellow and orange, like this laser that comes out of him. It looks really great. The same composer, Joe Hayashi is I think his name, comes back from the first one. The soundtrack is somehow even better than the first one. I wrote a lot of notes here. I think before I get into some of the cool stuff I've run into, because I've only touched the surface so far, the game is just charming. Like, between this and the next mystery spoiler surprise game I have, it's just, the bad guys aren't really that bad. They're not really killing anybody. They just want to take over a kingdom. Like, you and your characters are so infectiously positive about, I'm just going to build a kingdom where everyone can be friends and there's not going to be any war. And it's like, okay, cool, yeah, let's do that. That seems possible. And you think about it and you're like, wait, no. It's just, all of it is so charming, like Level 5 and Studio Ghibli, who's not affiliated with this game, can only do, where you're just like, this is good and fun. The battle system this time is real time, as opposed to the first game, which was basically the first game was Pokemon.
Yes.
Turn-based, you're recruiting monsters. All of that is gone. Instead of recruiting monsters, you recruit these things called Higgledies. If you've seen Princess Mononoke, it's basically those like guys that were living in the trees with the clicky heads.
Yes.
You recruit them, and they fight sort of automatically alongside you. They're going to do damage, they're going to heal, they're going to do all that stuff automatically. And then when they have done enough stuff in battle, you can go over to a group of them, hit X, and like the first group you get spawns a giant cannon, like on a pirate ship, and starts shooting the enemy with AoE damage.
Oh.
And I've only got 4 of those, so I have like 4 groups of 5 basically Pikmin running around the field with my other 2 companions doing damage. I think the only criticism so far I have for the game that actually is turning out to be positive right now, it's really easy. It's really, really, really easy. But I kind of dig that.
Yeah, this might be the change from turn-based to real-time, the fact that it's a relatively easy one, the fact that the story keeps moving.
Yep.
This might be a good JRPG for Jess.
Yeah, if she can deal with a little bit of anime and a lot of positivity that never really, so far in the first 5 hours, doesn't really get saccharine. Because, like, over on Pup, we make fun of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 because I'm going to beat the bad guy with the power of friendship. Like that. Yeah. That's when it moves into, like, okay, dude, tamp it down. This is not Power Rangers. Let's be cool. So far, it seems like it manages to avoid that a lot of that stuff by just being genuinely nice, as opposed to saccharine. The dungeons are great. The fast travel system is really good. Each dungeon or town or place on the overworld has at least 1, if not 5, fast travel points.
That's kind of cool.
And all you have to do to open up the map is hit start or options. To hit the fast travel menu, you hit options again, and you just pick anything. And you can just fast travel there for free at any point. So it's like one of the missions, I had to go to this one town to go accuse this one king of doing something bad. I won't spoil it. And then at the end it said, okay, go back to this other forest. So I just teleport to the end of the forest where the guy was that I need to go talk to, and I'm literally standing next to him. So within 10 seconds, I fast travel with there. There's really no load time. And then I just talk to him, and the mission's over. Instead of having to get out of town, go across the overworld, and go through another dungeon. So all that stuff is really great. And then
oh no.
This game keeps throwing new systems at me, and every time I'm sort of like, normally in a JRPG, it would throw a system at me and I'd be like, oh my god, more stuff to do. There's kind of an RTS in here.
Oh, what?
So there's this skirmish system that I didn't even know was in here. This system and the other one I didn't know was in here. Basically, you have up to 4 armies that join you, and to take over a kingdom's area, you have to take your 4 armies and sort of bring them across the battlefield and like spin these armies around you to sort of do like rock, paper, scissors with other armies. And archers are firing and mages are casting spells, and it's really good. And then on top of that, I hope they do this more. I'm not entirely sure if they will, but to become king of your kingdom, you have to go through this kingmaker ceremony. And part of it was you read this book, and it teleports you into this puzzle. And there are 3 chapters of this book where you get a couple of pages, and in front of you is this grid, and you basically have to navigate this path where the path falls behind you, so you can only go one way, and you have to recreate the story in the pages with some of the elements that are on the board.
Oh wow!
Where it's like first you meet the knight, and then you meet the mage, and then it turned, before he spoke to you. So it's like, all right, I have to go walk the path to get to this statue of a knight and stand next to it, and then go to the mage, and then turn it so it faces me before I stand on this thing. But you can only go the one way because it's falling behind you. And you did that 3 times until you finished the book and like became a king. It's like, you didn't need to put all of this great stuff in the game because you already had a great RPG, but now you're putting RTS in it, which works really well. This like one path puzzle game where you're recreating this book. And then on top of it, I'm building a kingdom like Suikoden or like Dark Cloud 1 and 2. And I'm recruiting all these people, and I'm putting them to work, and I'm researching new weapons and spells, and I'm running a ranch, and someone's making new dishes for me, and it's like, I'm only 5 hours in. And it's already really, really incredibly, fantastically good.
Oh, wow.
And
oh, no.
The
game I need to buy.
Yeah, it's out for PS4 and Steam right now. The one thing I would recommend is the Platinum looks like it's going to be really easy to get, except for one trophy, which
of course.
It seems like the game mitigates this problem from the first minute, but you need to be mindful of it. One of the trophies, all the other ones are just like play the game and do all the content, do 100% of the content. Sacred Bread says, but wait, there's more. That's basically Ni no Kuni 2, where it's like, but wait, there's more, and it's really great. One of the trophies is you have to have 500,000 gold at one time. A lot of times you're sort of picking up like 12 to 24 when you walk over something in a dungeon.
Yeah.
Someone was saying they finished the game with like only 600,000 and they didn't spend any money. The great part about the game is you're getting items and equipment and weapons like crazy. You don't need to spend any money on anything. It's just dropping this stuff like candy. So as long as you don't spend any money starting at the beginning, you'll be more than fine.
Yeah.
So Ni no Kuni 2 is really good. Also, it's clean because it's a very friendly game, so my daughter has been enthralled by it, which means I get to play more of it than usual.
More of it. Yes.
Yeah. And she likes the music too, because the soundtrack is just incredibly good. So it only came out on Friday, so I haven't had a ton of time with it, but I'm really hoping to kind of tuck into it pretty seriously this week. But I just started the missions where you can now go recruit people for your kingdom. So now it's going to be Side Quest City, I think.
Yes. Yeah. Now it's going to be let's fill every single slot we have and then some.
Yeah, exactly. It's so good. It's so good. Okay. My last thing, I said that I have a spoiler / a surprise here. I So I have, this is related, I promise. I have sleep apnea, so I have a CPAP machine. So I got new parts for it the other day. And I went on to, UPS sends the notification saying, like, hey, you got a package here. Okay, cool. So I go out. There's 3 packages. I was like, my first thought was, oh no, what have I done? Because they have my name on them. I was like, I don't remember ordering anything.
Yes. It's what game did I pre-order the special edition of that I forgot?
Right. And that was Ni no Kuni. So I open up my CPAP parts, I put those to the side, and I open up the smaller box, and inside of it is this Super Mario Odyssey for the Switch. And my first thought was, oh my god, what have I done? What, like, is this a late night purchase? Like, this was $20 and I decided to just buy it, and I don't have a Switch, so like, why did I do this? And what have I done? What did I do wrong? In the next package, however, was a note from now King of All Men, Jimbo Jangles, saying, thank you for the show and thank you for being a friend. I bought you a present, and inside of it was a Nintendo Switch. So, as an incredibly generous gift, and I now have a Switch. Like, thank you, Jimbo Jangles. That was very generous.
Yep.
Number one, I didn't screw up. I didn't accidentally just buy Super Mario Odyssey for no good reason.
Yes.
But also now I have this console, which is crazy. So I spent a bunch of time playing Super Mario Odyssey, which, like Ni no Kuni 2, is just so darn charming.
Yeah.
That it's kind of nice. Like, everybody's golf is fun, and like blue sky games, which is the type of games I really like. Super Mario Odyssey is really, really great. I didn't fully appreciate how much fun it would be to throw Cappy at enemies and take them over. Oh, hold on.
Yeah.
The yard work started.
Yeah, it has.
Let me turn the fan on now while we're at it. There's a really great moment. The game I forgot that you got to take over enemies with Cappy. So the game has a really great first couple of moments where you're like throwing Cappy and breaking boxes and pulling down posters, and you're like, yeah, this is great. And you destroy a bunch of Goombas with it, and it's like, all right, this is Mario, great. And then it sort of tricks you into hitting a frog with it, and then Mario's body, Mario's spirit leaves him and then slurps into this frog. It's this great moment where you look down and like these frog hands, and the camera pulls out and you're a frog. I was like, oh, that's right. You do get to... Yeah. Mario's ghostly spirit possesses these common animals. So far, the best one that I've gone into has been a T-Rex. And each...
Yeah, people were talking about the T-Rex moment.
And it's great because you find a sleeping T-Rex, so of course you want to throw Cappy at it. And every enemy that you absorb, that you quantum leap into, has a giant Mario mustache on it as well. So like Bullet Bills, this giant T-Rex has a huge mustache. So far it's really great. I haven't played a ton of it, mostly because I'm like, it's the new console setup where it's like, all right, let's get signed into our account, let's patch the firmware, let's download too many demos that I'm never going to play, let's get signed into the store, let's buy Golf Story because I had $8 in my Nintendo wallet, and a golf RPG is the thing I need to purchase.
Yeah.
Let's do a run of Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus to see how that works. Runs really well, by the way. I
forgot you already had Afterbirth Plus.
Yeah, I have to put that back on the shelf because I think the last thing I need is a third platform that I'm currently actively playing Binding of Isaac on.
No,
So,
you need 4. You need 4. Come on.
if it was digital, I might be playing it, but it's like $40.
So get the digital version and then do the same on the Xbox and then play 4 versions of the same game at the same time.
That might break me. Does one man have that many hours in the day?
No.
Yeah. But I do. So I do have The End Is Nigh on the Switch. And Cave Story Plus. I've never played Cave Story, so this is probably a really great time.
Mm-hmm.
I would really love to play The End Is Nigh on Switch, but as we've talked about on Game Club with the Mummy Demastered, it doesn't have a D-pad. So what it has here on my Blue Joy-Con that everybody knows is this is the D-pad. It's 4 distinct buttons here, just like on the other side, because it's supposed to be, both of you can have, you can play Super Mario by just one person has a Joy-Con each, and you can play 2-player like that. That's sort of a problem. That's not a problem with Binding of Isaac because you're using both sticks. Mm-hmm. Sort of a problem with like a hardcore platformer. Like Owlboy is out on Switch right now, and I would love to play that, but it doesn't have a D-pad. It's like so. Yeah,
it's something we talked about in Discord as well. With West of Loathing coming and Hyper Light Drifter.
Yep.
And I kind of may have advised people in Discord, maybe not Hyper Light Drifter unless you've got a Pro Controller.
Yeah, and that's sort of my thing now is I'm looking at all these games. Cave Story is a classic Metroidvania that I haven't yet played. Needs a D-pad. Owlboy and Is Nigh, all this stuff. Like, there are really great indie games, and we'll talk about those as part of the news stories as well. A lot of indie games are coming to it, but it almost seems like it necessitates you having a Pro Controller at this point just to have a true D-pad. Because you can make it happen. Musin played Mummy Demastered on Switch for Game Club, and it works, but he had some frustrations just because you don't have that true D-pad. Which is fine. But, like, I'm playing Mario just fine, because you're using the 2 sticks, but you sort of want that actual controller in your hands. And it's also $60, so that's sort of stopping me from buying it. Like, to complete the Switch now, I need a Pro Controller, and I need a giant SD card, which the price for the 200 gig one is now down to like $60. Which is a really great price. The 400 gig is like $150, and that's a little expensive. But so far, really happy with the Switch. I have not licked a cartridge, because I know they taste bad.
You should.
Yeah. And I think the thing I'm excited about is just being able to have the Switch portable. So if I want to bring it in bed and play a little of something before I go to sleep, I totally can. And I think that's pretty exciting because I've never gotten the Vita's remote play to work as well as I wanted to, and that screen is obnoxiously bright at the very lowest setting. So I'll have to see how the Switch does. But again, thank you to Jimbo Jangles. I now have another platform to play Binding of Isaac on. Haha, gotcha.
I love the priorities.
Yeah, exactly. But now we're 2 hours into the show, so that's all I've been playing. Let's take a break. Let's talk releases for the week of March 26th, 2018. Far Cry 5 comes out on PC, PS4, and Xbox One.
Come on. I thought I was done spending money for a little bit.
You fool! No,
I forgot about this one.
Far Cry 5, I haven't really been looking at any of the pre-review coverage yet. I'm sort of waiting for it to actually come out.
Yeah, I saw that first trailer. I was like, okay, I'm interested. And I like Far Cry 4 and 3.
Yeah.
So, let's go.
A lot of people have been posting stuff where it's like, we've played 15 hours of Far Cry 5 and here's our impressions. Like, I sort of want to wait for them to finish the whole thing to say, this is a good experience throughout, or it's one of those Ubisoft games that's like great for 50% and then just falls off the cliff.
Yeah, it's the Unity problem.
Yeah. So far it seems good. And I think one of the parts I'm very curious about is it'll probably play just fine. I'm hoping it takes a lot of cues from Assassin's Creed Origins in improving the world. And I think that I'm curious to see where it lands on how heavy it's going to hit the politics. I guess to put it broadly is, it seems like it's a game that has a lot of promise story-wise if they can sort of follow through with it, but how much are they going to stick to it?
Yeah, are they going to lean all the way into the setting and the politics, or are they going to back down and just
pull some punches?
Yeah. I hope they don't.
Yeah, I thought it'd be really great if they don't. It could be really cool.
Yeah.
Next up, MLB The Show 18 comes out on the PS4. Unfortunately, I know virtually nothing about these games other than people seem to really like them.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that I think Sony have the Major League Baseball license on lockdown for
I think so, yeah.
releases, which is why you will never see another baseball game fully licensed on any of the other consoles.
But everything I see from people that like this game is sort of like, that's fine because these are good. So,
yeah.
Could be a lot worse.
Yeah.
And last but not least, a game I'm fairly sure is coming out this week in the US, The Witch and the 100 Knight 2 comes out on the PS4. I never played the first one, but it's nice to see more Nippon Ichi games coming out that are pretty different.
Oh no. Why would you tell me that that's who made that game?
Yeah.
I have a Disgaea problem. We all know I have a Disgaea problem.
I think we all have a Disgaea problem deep within us.
Yes. There's something about taking that horse thing and going into the item world and making it as most powerful as you can.
It's trouble. I feel like the itch just talking about it. I could just buy Disgaea 5 Complete on the Nintendo Switch. No. Bad. Put my hand back.
Well, you do it and then you've got more content for pull.
With Ni no Kuni, all three of us are playing it, so I don't need any new content for a while.
That's true.
Alright, talking about the Switch, Nintendo had their Nindies showcase this past week, and part of what I thought was really interesting is it seems like Nintendo has finally taken the indie games crown from the Vita and sort of put it on the Switch's head. It's like, hey, if you want to play indie games and you don't have either console or you don't have a PC that you want to play this stuff on, hey man, here's the Switch. A couple of the big announcements they came out with was Mark of the Ninja Remastered, which is not a game I thought would get a remaster.
No, but that's a game that's so cool.
Yeah. A game that's even cooler, Lumines Remastered. Go, my wallet!
Lumines Remastered is also coming out on the other platforms too.
Yeah, PC and PS4 and Xbox One, and
yep.
I don't know if it's coming on 3DS, but
I've never played a Lumines game.
They're really good. What I'm hoping is it almost looks like this is going to be either a remaster of the first one, because it seems like it starts like the first one did, or it's going to be sort of a greatest hits plus quality of life improvements from the first two. Either one would be really good.
Yeah. And
it would run the risk of people having their Switches just turn into the Luminous machine.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of that, by the way, it is 4K on the Pro and the X.
Oh, ouch! Oh, so good.
Yeah.
Reign's Kings and Queens is coming out. The hit mobile game where you're sort of flipping cards to make a decision about how to rule your kingdom. really witty writing, supposed to be really cool. I never picked it up on iOS for whatever reason, but we talked about this a little bit earlier.
Like
West of Loathing coming out. Seems like it's a console exclusive on Switch, which sort of a bummer because I want more people to play it, but I don't know if this is...
I would love to see that on the Xbox. I would love to see what those writers can do for achievements, and that would make me get the full 1K. I would go for the 1K just for that.
Yeah. The only thing I could think is that they're going to heavily use the touchscreen on the Switch for this.
Yeah, it would make sense.
Yeah. Because it is a very... I mean, you can use keyboard completely for West of Loathing, but it's kind of not that fun.
Yeah.
So, that'll be good. When that comes out, as long as it functionally works, everybody should check it out. West of Loathing is really, really great.
Yep.
The Banner Saga Trilogy is coming out to Switch, which...
Wait, there was a number 3?
Yes. That first one was a Kickstarter hit, and then very quickly they turned around 2 others that are apparently also, if not as good, even better.
We have 1 and 2 on the Xbox. I've just never played them. Yeah,
I think 3 is coming to all platforms soonish. I think their actual term was soonish. So, it's coming to stuff. Nidhogg 2, which seems like a perfect game to come out on the Switch because you can just snap off those 2 Joy-Cons. Yeah.
Go up on your rooftop, get that kickstand out.
Exactly, put it right on your patio. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And last but not least, probably one of my favorite indie games that we talked about earlier, Hyper Light Drifter. That game is really great.
Yeah.
It's so good.
On that screen, I don't know what the quality of the screen is like, but if it's a crisp, clean screen as well, then that game is going to look incredible.
It's a very nice screen.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So, pretty much, they announced a whole bunch of other games that are also really good, but I didn't want to list like 15 of them.
Yeah.
Every one of those games that's coming out is real good. I feel like you can pick up any one of those and it'll be a slam dunk.
Yeah. Did Sony do anything to do with indies at GDC at all?
Sony, I don't think, had a really big presence this GDC.
Okay. Because I know Microsoft were there with like 50 indie titles.
Yeah. They, Cappy did a really great interview about Below, which I think we talked about last week, right?
No, we didn't, because the tweets started coming out about it like right after the show last week.
Oh, okay. Maybe it was during a break.
They've announced a release or it's coming out this year.
Yeah, they are dedicated to it coming out in 2018, and then they said, "We know you don't believe us. We're working very hard." So, yeah, I would love it to come out. Now it's 4K 60 frames per second, so which is twice as good as it was before. So, just please come out. I just want to buy it.
That's all I want.
Yeah. Next news story, System Shock Remake is now back on track and coming out 2020. So we talked about this a couple weeks ago where they were like started to remake System Shock and then they started putting some quality of life changes in and then eventually was just a brand new game.
Mm-hmm.
And then they went to backers and they said, "Hey, funny story, we screwed up. That's not what you guys paid for and that's not what we wanted to make.
Yeah.
We got to sort of pull way back and start some of this stuff way back over." So they did. And they said, "Hey, we're back on track. And we're ready to go, but now it's going to come in 2020." Which is great of them to also say straight up front that,
we'll see you in a couple of years.
Yeah, like, don't get excited this year or next year, because that's
what the scariest part is? When someone can say, it's coming out in 2020.
Yeah.
That's like 18 months away.
Yeah.
That's scary to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I know I'm old, because I grew up telling me how the year 2010, 2020, these are the times when the robots take over.
Yep. Flying cars turn on us.
Mm-hmm. And it's 18 months away.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
It's so good, though. It's the future's here.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right, next news story. The Internet Archive uploads a metric butt ton of LCD handheld games. What's so crazy about this is looking through the list, there's stuff like the handheld Sonic the Hedgehog, Tamagotchi, like all this stuff. They're fully playable in your browser through the main browser plugin.
That's kind of cool.
And all of these work. Do they have a total number? Oh god, I just keep scrolling and there's more of them. 74 right now, it looks like. And it seems like they're just going to keep adding more over time. So if you wanted to check out, it'll be in the show notes for this week. You wanted to check out sort of some of the earliest portable games. They probably don't have Game & Watch stuff on there because Nintendo would probably slap that down pretty quickly. But they really recreated those old LCD handheld games, which is really, really cool. So
And terrifying.
Yeah. But really cool. Next news story. Ubisoft finally fends off the Vivendi takeover.
Yes.
Once and for all, Vivendi has sold back their shares. They are moving on to circling over somebody else's not quite yet dead yet corpse.
Oh, hello, EA. How are you doing? My name's Vivendi.
Is that better or worse?
It's worse.
Probably.
You know it's worse.
Basically, Vivendi held 27.27% of Ubisoft's shares. Ubisoft made a deal with Tencent, the hugely large publisher, especially of mobile games.
Yeah, it's the super corporation of the future.
Yes.
It's
future Google.
This is then. Yes, this is China Google.
Yep.
Is what this is basically.
It is Abstergo.
Yes.
Yeah, it seems like they also another group is the Ontario Teachers Pension Plan, which
that's the best group.
Is a really great group, and we obviously like Ubisoft. It's probably a good investment. What's really interesting is neither the Ontario Teachers Plan, nor Tencent is getting a seat on the board of directors.
Interesting.
So basically, they're just putting up a bunch of money.
They're like silent partners, essentially.
Yeah. So
good for Ubisoft.
Yeah, and the other benefit of the deal is that they're entering a strategic agreement between Ubisoft and Tencent, where Tencent will, quote, operate, publish, and promote several of Ubisoft's most successful titles on PC and mobile in the Chinese market, end quote. It's a win-win.
And yeah, that could be huge for Ubisoft.
Yep.
Like, you see things like Call of Duty getting released over there and making gangbusters with its hacking and its cosmetics and all that kind of stuff.
If Tencent can push Assassin's Creed over there, that could be a real big win. If it's not already over there, I don't know.
Yeah. Can anyone... what's that I hear on the wind through my giant headphones? Oh, Samurai Assassin's Creed?
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. One of those days. Now that means I got pushed back to 2037 because someone mentioned it.
Yep, I mentioned it again.
Yep. And last news story here: another surprisingly good guy Epic Games news story about Paragon shutting down next month. Actually, a month from tomorrow, April 26th. Our previous news story was, hey, they announced the shutdown and then they just refunded a whole bunch of money for players, and you didn't even have to go through, Sony or Microsoft or any of that. They just released basically all of the character and environmental assets for the game into the Unreal Engine marketplace for free.
Interesting. So, knock yourself out, kiddos. You enjoyed the game. Make it yourself.
Well, and I think the other thing, too, that people I've seen... First off, they estimated at $12 million worth, probably just through like character and programming, artist time and all that. What people are saying on Twitter that I've seen, game devs that are looking at a lot of this stuff, apparently it's really incredibly well done, and they're learning an amazing amount of stuff just by looking at how these characters are rigged and modeled and
reverse
animated.
Engineering.
Yeah, so just for a lot of people, it's just a learning experience for, how are huge developers and publishers making stuff for big AAA games.
Yeah. And if they can reverse engineer that stuff and it makes it more cost effective in the future for them, great.
Yeah. Yeah, that's super. I have been impressed time and time again with how Epic has been handling this whole Paragon thing. They could have just been, scraping and scrabbling for money down to the last minute and being greedy about it. But instead, they're like, all right, we gave it a shot. It didn't work out. Not enough people were playing it. Here's a bunch of free stuff, and we're going to be cool about refunds. So, thanks for playing.
Yeah. Hey, Disney, that's how you shut down a games as a service game.
Yeah. Whoops. Man. All right, let's move on to questions here. First up from Maximus Prime. He asked if we were... His second question is, are you going to buy Sea of Thieves this week, and why or why not? I missed this question last week because it came in right as we were recording. So, sorry about that. I'm going to go check the Discord channel right now, see if there's anything missing. There's not.
Yes, I bought Sea of Thieves.
Yeah. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait and see. If I do ever play Sea of Thieves, it will probably be on Game Pass, because that seems to be the best bang for the buck now. If it ever comes down to $20 on disc, that seems like a no-brainer too. That would be a great game for my collection, because either it's a great comeback story, or it's a story of...
it's X-Men Legends.
Yeah, but the games as a service version of X-Men Legends, where it's man, what this thing could have been, and it's a piece of history.
Yeah.
But time will tell. He said, what's your favorite sound effect in current generation video games? And what's your all-time favorite sound effect in a video game? I'm trying to think of non-standard ones, because obviously you want to say favorite of all time is the Metal Gear Solid exclamation mark. That's the Sonic rings. Those are famous ones.
Okay, my favorite from all time, it's the specific ticking noise Project Gotham 3 made.
Oh, yeah.
And Project Gotham 2 and 1 with the kudos.
Oh.
They're
God, just in your brain where it's just don't screw it up. I have such a good... Oh, I can't... Oh, it's getting more intense.
Yep, and it builds the pressure, because the longer you hear that noise, the more you know you cannot make a mistake from this point onwards.
Man.
My favourite right now is the hollow kaboof you hear when you blow up a ship in Elite Dangerous. It has that very distinctive sound,
bassy
compression. Yes. That's such a good sound. Along with, to be honest, the coming out of a hyperspace jump equivalent in the frame shift drive. When you come out of it, it's silent, you hear whistling kind of noises, as light and everything's going past you, and then when you come out of frame shift drive, it gives you this big, huge kaboom as you suddenly dead stop directly in front of the sun.
Oh, so cool.
And it's this really great combination of the visual and the sound effects happening at once.
I think one of my all-time favorite sound effects... So, in the original ToeJam and Earl, one of the negative presents you can pick up is a library book, and it makes your character go to sleep, and you basically have to mash all the buttons on the controller, and a voice just goes, wake up, wake up, wake up, and then at the end it yells really loud, wake up, and that's what wakes your character up. I've always liked that sound effect, because normally when you're mashing those buttons, some sort of horrible enemy is bearing down on you, and you can't mash the buttons fast enough for that character to wake up.
Yeah.
Modern sound effect, I'm actually going to say Sea of Thieves. I feel like the sound effect when you're in your ship and it's creaking is really good. All the sound effects in that game are really, especially the skeleton popping, that
Yep, that's really good. Specifically for Sea of Thieves as well. Get into a true thunderstorm with the rain beating down on you so hard you have to actually empty water from the bottom of your ship. It's raining that hard.
Yeah.
The compass starts spinning like crazy.
Ooh.
So you can't tell which direction you're going, and then those creaks just get so intense because you can almost feel the ship breaking apart in the storm.
Oh man,
it's so cool when you're in a hardcore storm.
That game, I hope its legacy will be, hey, here's how to do really, really great water now, and without any music, here's how you really punch up the sound effects.
Yes.
Like, it sounds like your ship is alive.
Yeah,
it's really
100%.
cool.
I love that game, though.
Man. Next question here from Servo in Discord. With the prevalence of digital editions, when was the last time you stood in line for a midnight software release? And then he has a cool story here. A second. I've never stood in line for a midnight release. I like sleep a lot.
Me either. To be honest, like, by the time the midnight release thing started happening in England, it was only happening for the games I didn't care about.
Yeah.
I don't care about the midnight release for the next Call of Duty.
Brand new Madden game. It's like, yeah, that's not for me.
I didn't care enough about the new FIFA game for the same thing. The closest equivalent I've got is when I was at the store before it opened to open a game that came out that day, and that was Pokemon Red for the Game Boy.
Nice.
That was the last time I did it, and it was worth every single second of it because that game was great.
Actually, now that I think about it, TVGP alumnus Brad and I stood outside the Best Buy where I used to live in Ohio for when the store opened for when Rock Band 2 came out. I believe it was. I know it wasn't 1 because that was a different story. But I think I had taken the day off of work, and I think he didn't have classes for a while, so I think we definitely stood outside the Best Buy, and we went in, beelined it to the video game section, and we got in the back, and we're like, hey, where's your copies of Rock Band 2? And they're like, we don't have that. It's like, hi, it came out today. I'm standing in this freezing weather. Can you please, I will ask you this one time, can you please go look in the back? I'm like, oh, hey, we got this in today. It's like, thank you. Let me just spend my $150 and be on my way. Here's a story here. It says, I often had odd experiences buying GTA titles on release eve/day. For example, the store clerk told my dad that GTA 2 had nudity in it, 19 years later still looking for it. My GTA 3 was a copy employees were playing in the store that they threw in the open box and I still paid full price for, which is just a D move.
Yep.
San Andreas, I got at the 6 p.m. the day before release since my mall store couldn't do a midnight opening. GTA 4, Red Bull showed up and handed out drinks to everyone in line, and we almost had to leave after police were called from the teens doing burnouts in the GameStop parking lot.
That's hilarious.
Have you had any experiences while buying a game/systems that stuck in your mind over the years? Oh, man. I feel like since I haven't really gone to any events like that, because like Solid Barley in Mixer Chat says, sleep is love. I feel like I've run into very little craziness like that, shockingly.
Yeah, I mean, to me, like, the best thing for me was, like, everyone will talk about, oh, this game comes out, I needed to take a day off of work for it.
Yeah.
I lived in England for the longest time, where games came out on Friday.
Yeah.
So that was never an
Pick it
issue
up on the
for
way
me.
home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it would just be a case of grabbing it on the way home, and I'll be fine. And I've never really done it, mostly because I'm too lazy to be bothered.
Yeah.
It's like, I ain't getting up or staying up all night and going and doing it. The only time something like that has really happened is when Pokemon Go first came out for Android.
Yeah.
I was in England and I cycled around and actually met somebody playing the game, and we just cycled from stop to stop to stop to stop to
Oh,
stop
cool.
in my local area, talking about what we found, what we hadn't found. Like, that's
Yeah.
where Pokemon Go kind of nailed it perfectly correctly, was doing that way. Whereas I've never really been a release kind of guy. I don't like people in general. I hate crowds even more.
Yeah, ditto on that
more
one.
than 4 is a crowd.
I don't know, like, for me, half the time the games I get really excited about are like Ni no Kuni 2, where it's like, I'll go into a GameStop or Best Buy and someone goes, the hell is this thing? I'm like, I'm really excited for it, and I have appeared to buy the only copy this store gets in, so hooray for me. So, Late Elf in Discord continues, says, my wife got her first 60 and a 35 going home after the midnight release of Halo 2. Didn't seem fair not to marry her after that.
That is a great line.
That's really good. T-Bomb Rocks on Discord says, Rock Band and Guitar Hero, hey, speaking of the devil, tried to bring back the physical musical peripheral and it didn't catch on this time. I know you can use dance pads with Crypta the Necrodancer, but could you see a company releasing a game similar to DDR for dance pads? I feel like that...
DDR is...
Whoop, go ahead. I feel like that ship sailed when... After the Kinect started really flopping, Ubisoft figured out, hey, we can put out Just Dance and the controller is your smartphone. Everyone has one of those, so you don't have to buy anything new. I think that's when everyone was like, okay, well, we'll just do that then.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to see them do something like that. But the problem with dance pads is having a friend who is, well, several friends who are part of that scene. And when I say that scene, I mean when you go into like shopping malls and you see someone doing like the ridiculously high rate thing.
Yeah.
That's these guys.
Right, the 2 dance pads moving between them and stuff.
Yes. Yeah. I know a couple of my friends in England are of that scene.
Right.
And one of them, hi Steve, he 100% hated dance mats for home consoles because there was no stability to them.
Yeah.
Like, you stick them on a carpet, they slip. You stick them on hard surfaces, they slip. Like the fold-out ones, if you're going to have something like that, you need basically a big base, heavy, sturdy, attached to something on the floor. At that point, you need to go out and buy a DDR machine.
Yeah, like you just buy that pad and the whole machine.
Yeah. But I think the problem with that is nowadays is nobody's interested in extra stuff around the house.
Yeah.
The only thing I can think of that would work for that is something like VR or augmented reality, where you're holding 2 controllers that form an instrument between them. Let's say you hold the controls in a specific way, and it's a guitar.
Sure.
And these buttons do different things, and these buttons, this is your strum. That might work in like VR or AR.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to work ever again for the peripheral market.
I wonder if Nintendo poisoned the well with Wii Music, since that was such a hugely monumental flop on that platform. I wonder if people are a little gun-shy to try it again.
Yeah.
I think your VR example... Well, no. Because, well, I was going to say Harmonix tried it with Rock Band VR, but that was sort of different, where it was focused more on strumming and chords as opposed to like the traditional Rock Band experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you may be right, where maybe one VR headset is like all the peripherals that anyone... That's like the maximum peripherals that people want in their house now.
Yeah, and only because it's kind of cool. And if they can start introducing stuff like that, or augmented reality and stuff, you know, bring that mixed in with all these other different game styles, that would be great.
Yeah.
Like, you can have an AR guy who can see the drum set in front of him. You can have a VR guy who can see, you know, the guitar that they're holding. Like, it just depends on how they can integrate that setup that used to require a lot in your house to now be a virtual setup instead.
Well, you know, I was just thinking that actually an AR Rock Band might be pretty cool, because you could see just your highway in front of you, or like maybe stuff coming off of your instrument or stuff like that, without, you know, 4 people sharing the same screen and get this little tiny highway that you're trying to read. Yeah, I don't know.
Like, for that kind of example, you're in VR. If your drumming's the easiest example to give, but you see the highway coming towards you, and it's at the height and depth of the drum sections in front of you.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And you don't just have to limit it to 4, you can have 8. And then be like, okay, it's these two, then this one, and the symbol's a slightly higher one. You know, the highway can be layered differently because you have the depth.
Yeah. That's interesting, yeah. And then on the other end of the spectrum, I don't remember who publishes it. Maybe Namco Bandai? Taiko Drum Master, they're coming out with a Switch version that you just use the touchscreen for. It's like, well, perfect. That's great.
Yep. That works.
And last question, but certainly not least, Almighty Tooth in Discord asks, the missus wants to know, what is your all-time favorite game? What's our all-time favorite game today? I guess since our answer always changes.
Chrono
Trigger?
Splinter Cell 1. Specifically the Xbox, the OG Xbox version.
Is that the one that had multiplayer too, or is that the second one?
That was the second one. That was a great game, but Splinter Cell for me was a multiplayer game because I played it with my dad. That's kind of what makes it probably my favorite game of all time. Is that was the game that my dad really jumped into gaming with. Like, he took a long vacation from video games, like from N64. He stopped for the whole, like, almost 2 generations, and that was the game that brought him back.
Right.
And that was the game that me and him would sit there and strategize and, like, spend so much time playing that game together.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous you can get that amount of content from such a single-player game, but those are some of my favorite memories when it comes to video games.
Yeah.
And then, I think we talked about it last week, it helps as well that Splinter Cell continued that for me all the way up to the point where the most recent release is one where my wife and I really formed that start of our relationship, so...
Yeah.
Splinter Cell, I'll never tweeze you from my heart.
I think I always like Chrono Trigger because it's a game with no extra stuff in it. Like, there's no wasted time or very few repeated elements. The time travel makes a lot of sense. It rewards you, for doing all the side quests. It's a game without any extra fluff. It's all wheat, no chaff. And I think...
Yeah.
I don't think you can say that about a lot of games. You're always like, oh yeah, this game's great, except for that one scene. It's just, just real bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chrono Trigger. That's pretty good. If only
Metal Gear Solid 1 is pretty great too.
What's that?
Metal Gear Solid 1 is pretty great too. But that's all chaff and no wheat.
Badooch.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a game that I feel like I love 2 more because it goes crazy throughout the entire thing. But 1 is just such a tight experience.
Yeah.
That I feel like they never really did again. Even 3 is pretty tight, but still has some stuff that's not super great.
Yeah. That's always been an issue with Kojima, though.
Yeah.
Like, it's... The bigger his budget, the bigger his... I'm going to say ego, but don't take that as a negative, but the bigger the control he has over it, the wilder the game has gotten.
The less people tell him no. Yes. And, like, you don't even have to tell him bad no. It's like, hey, man, maybe we pull this back a little bit. Like, maybe we focus.
Maybe in Metal Gear 5, if you pick up the sound of that dude from every single Metal Gear Solid game having a lot of issues on the toilet.
Johnny Sasaki?
Yes. Maybe you don't need to include the fact that if you hide in a toilet and play that tape using the speaker, the other guards will leave you alone. Nobody's ever going to run into that naturally.
Yeah, it makes for a fun, like, BuzzFeed article, but maybe not necessary.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you very much, everyone, for listening. That's our episode this week. If you'd like to visit us, you can do so at tvgp.tv. All the links to everything is on the right-hand side of the page, including the Discord server that is still continuing to hop. New members are always welcome. Discord's free, so come hop over and chat with us. Don't forget this month's Game Club game is The Swapper. If you've had PlayStation Plus for a real long time, you probably already have it on PS4. If not, because there's a Game Club game right now, it's probably on sale, as that always happens. Yep. And once this is over, it'll probably come to Switch, because that seems to be what Game Club is happening. So keep an eye out for our announcement. But go pick up the Swapper. I think when we looked at the calendar, we have 4 weeks left on this one, because next month is super long.
March is very, very long.
Yeah.
So we get an extra Saturday this month.
Right. And don't forget to subscribe and all stuff on YouTube and Twitch and Mixer and Smashcast, all that stuff. It'll let you know when we go live. You know, sometimes we go live a little bit later on Sunday, sometimes not. Patreon.com/E1M1. Go check out Old Dog new flicks, the $5 level. Its first episode is real good. Second episode is gonna be even better. So go check that out. Patreon.com/E1M1. That's all for us. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you all next week.
Bye-bye.
I have 5 titles.
I think I've got 5 too, but like 3 of them are really long, so probably a veto straight away.
Okay, hit me.
Sea of Thieves has a really big butt.
Probably too long, but I was very proud of that.
Wait, what?
Handwriting problems.
Yes. Who knows what that one says? Next thing you know, water hazard. Lego Batman 3'd. That's THREE apostrophe D.
Yeah.
The one I can't seem to read are the really weird are clicks with me, so I don't even know. So that one gets out the window straight away.
Oh, I think
the really weird one clicks with me.
Yeah.
You talking about the golf games. And my last title is King of All Men.
King of All Men. Let me write that. King of All Men. I have The Hype Train. My vote for probably my favorite one this week is Pirate Tensions.
Oh, that's kind of good.
A Lover, Not a Pirate. Roleplay as a Jerk. And Sloop, There It Is. Which is also really... All of those... I feel like all of these titles this week are really good.
I'm torn between Pirate Tensions and Sloop, There It Is.
I like Pirate Tensions because I feel like the reveal of Sloop, There It Is probably funnier if you don't know it's coming.
Yeah.
And Pirate Tensions is just... it's just really great. I just like you saying, like, there were pirate tensions.
I'm also going to use the other titles, one of the other titles you mentioned as my line. Okay. So that's great.
I will circle Pirate Tensions then. All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. This is the Video Game Podcast, episode 544 for March 26th, 2018. Pirate Tensions.
I should roleplay a jerk.
All right, thank you so much, everyone, for listening and watching. And thank you very much for a bunch of new people in both... shout out to Icetown and
I'm an idiot.
Twitch for making... Wimpir just probably closed something out.
No, I'm laughing because the chat is down here, and I showed them where they were located on the break.
It's just like, over here.
I was like, bye, chat. And then I realized, no, that's the camera there. It's not over there. Bye, chat.
Props to Icetown for hanging out with us for the first time. Props to a bunch of new peeps over in Mixer. Thank you for being cool. We'll be back the same time next week. So come hang out with us again. We'll see you then. Bye.
Bye-bye.
And we can stop recording.